Communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Kop Or No Kop. I am your host, Kevin C. Meggett. Here alone, stand alone today, so we're just going to chop up some good game with the family. Wondering how everyone's doing. Hope you had a great week. We're back. Lots going on since I've been on the last show, so we're going to chop up some good game. I don't need a host today. Or a special host. I'm going to just bring it to you live and direct today. So let's jump right into it. World news. What's going on in the world? I mean, here in America, everything is really fixated on what's happening in the Ukraine with Russia. Russia is actually now really doubling down on Ukraine. And I think that, pretty much they're not playing any games. I think Putin is like getting really fed up. And, I think what's agitating him the most is the fact that the West is actually aiding and abetting in his eyes. So he's doubling down. He's like actually taking this fight to civilian cities, and he's pretty much threatening to take Ukraine off the face of the map. So, we'll see how that plays. I just don't like the fact that maybe every day, every week, we send in $2 billion over to the Ukraine, and we're neglecting our people right here in the United States, okay? So we'll see how this thing plays out with Ukraine and Russia. I actually, believe it or not, understand Russia's position. I'm not siding with them, but I understand it. I mean, when you look at it, how did America feel, or what did we do when we had the missile crisis in Cuba? It was considered a national threat, and being that Ukraine is so close to Russia, I'm sure Russia looks at it as a national threat too. But they all play games. The superpowers, they play games with each other. They all poke the bear. So, America poked the bear with Russia being over there in the Ukraine, and now you have this response. You're looking at the response of being poked at, so I guess what's coming next? We're poking the bear with China and Taiwan too. And so I always say it's not a matter if, but when China decides to invade Taiwan. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you, we're looking at World War III, because there is no NATO over in China, in that region. And so America's going to have to fight that fight pretty much alone, because her allies in that region are very reluctant to fight. So who are the allies over there? Australia, Japan, I don't know, India. These are the places, and they're not really. I don't know if I want to go over there and fight this fight. So this is interesting. I'm sitting here with popcorn watching the show, because that's all it is. It's one big show of power, and this is what they do to each other. Meanwhile, the citizens here in America are paying a hefty, hefty price, and I'm just really a little bewildered why we aren't more angry than we are today. Anyway, I digress. Okay, let's move on. There's an uprising in Iran. I think apparently someone some woman didn't have her hijab on correctly, and I believe they executed her. And it sparked an outrage and a protest and an uprising in Iran. Iran's president is looking at us and saying, United States and Israel is the reason why that this is going on. Come on, man. Like, y'all killed this girl probably for nothing. America and Israel didn't have nothing to do with that, So, people are tired. The world is getting tired. Most of our wars are fought over religion, and we're fighting and killing and executing people in the name of a religion that says we should love one another. So, make it make sense to me. Go figure that one out. I don't know. But Saudi Arabia, while I'm close to the region, they don't really like each other. Iran and Saudi Arabia can't stand each other. But President Biden went there, recently to ask that the Saudis ramp up more oil production. And what Saudi actually did was actually charge more. They sided with Russia on this. So it's a little interesting. You think we have all of these allies, and it seems like America doesn't have the clout, the political clout she had, the strength, the might. So all of a sudden, no one's really afraid of her any longer. So it's interesting that, we're not going to drop these gas prices, but so much. People are celebrating because it's not $10 at the pump anymore, but it might be $3.99, but it's still overpriced. And that's because the world is actually tired of America actually superimposing her agenda on the world. You can't do that. Communist countries need to be communist. Democracy does not work everywhere. It really kind of doesn't work here because foundational Black Americans don't get no democracy. We don't get no freedom. We don't get no justice. We don't get equality. So, capitalism works here. You have the right to, sell your mother's most comfortable pair of shoes and have her walk in the street barefooted. But democracy don't really mean too much here. So we're going to move on to federal level. So on the federal level, I just really want to talk again about the economy. I don't know if you guys have been to the supermarket, but fruits and vegetables are extremely, extremely high. And I think that since the pandemic, that it actually, they actually started price gouging. I don't have any concrete proof, but I wish someone would do a study. I got too much on my plate to do anything, but I wish a study would be conducted to look at the prices of food before the pandemic and after the pandemic. And then let's figure it out because I don't believe crops had COVID. I think people were supposed to have it, right? So what stopped people from, I don't know if people stopped production, but I doubt it. I'm sure we didn't stop importing from other countries, fruits and vegetables. But what America's going to have to do if she wants to get back on her feet is produce something because we're consuming everything. And that came out of that NAFTA agreement when Bill Clinton, when he signed with China, was a bad deal. Bad deal. Like it forever put us in debt with free trade. Anyway, the economy's doing bad. People are looking more now into remote work. So you're going to start seeing a lot of people getting laid off, and they're going to outsource that employment overseas where it's cheaper. So it's interesting. America's not looking good right now. We're looking more like a third world country rather than a first. And it bothers me. I don't think it's really good where we're actually invested more in a war that Ukraine can't win. First of all, Ukraine can't win that war. They need to figure out how to get to the table because they can't win it. And it's but so much America can give them, but America's given them at the expense of taking from us. Homeless is at an all-time high. Street homeless at that. Skid Row, forget it. You have miles of people living in tents. This is the land of the free. Make it make sense. I don't know. Anyway, November 5th. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Tariq Nasheed, but he is actually doing, and I'm so excited. I'm so happy for this brother. He's actually doing a foundational Black American reparations rally in Washington, D.C. I will be there in full support of my brother. Notwithstanding, we belong to the same tribe. And yes, this country was built by my ancestors, and we got nothing from it. Free labor. So if you want to talk about the economy, let's talk about how my people worked for free to build this country from nothing, from scratch, and didn't get one red penny for it. And we're going there not asking, but demanding that we get reparations. And we're going to forget this HR 40 because the study's over. We passed the test. We did enough. We got nothing done for it. And so come on down to Washington, D.C. if you're a foundational Black American, or you may not be a foundational Black American and could be in support of what we're doing. Come down to Washington. You know, we really deserve the opportunity to do for ourselves what we were forced to have other people do for us. So those games are over. Okay, I want to talk about, and I'll talk about this. I'm gonna take a real quick commercial break. But lately I've been on this veteran kick. As you know, I'm a war veteran, United States Navy, fought in the first Gulf War. I really, really, really dislike how veterans are being treated. There is no veteran resources on a federal level for us. The feds could be doing way, way more. And what they're doing is they're doing the bare minimum, and they're actually allowing the state and the city to compensate what they're not doing for. And neither one of them have a real strategic plan for us. The problem is you have a bunch of people that are making decisions for veterans that have never served. So veterans are a group of people just like everyone else. We have Asians, we have Africans, we have Caribbean, we have Latinos, we have gays, we have veterans. We are a group of people just like everyone else, and we have specific needs. And our needs really should come before all of those people I just mentioned needs, because people like myself and other veterans out there, we've kind of made the ultimate sacrifice. The only people I think deserve a little bit more attention than or more priority than veterans would be foundational Black Americans. But you have a lot of foundational Black Americans like myself that also served in uniform. The thing is, we serve this country too. It's not a handout. It's something that we earned. And I want to be very crystal clear on that. There should be no veteran in America homeless. We love to point our fingers at our adversaries and say, China is this, Russia's that, Iran is this. But I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. Iran, China, and Russia take care of the people that have served in uniform. They don't have a homeless crisis with their veterans. They don't have a lack of equity when it comes to financial upward mobility in their country. They take care of those that took care of their country. And shame on America, shame on the Biden administration. That's where it starts, sir. It starts with you. Shame on you. I hear that you're coming to Veterans Day in Manhattan this year, and it'll make me feel better if you came there not empty-handed and said, hey, I'm going to build federal shelters in New York. Because shelters, as we know it here in New York, only if I became homeless right now, I have to go to a city shelter. I didn't make a contract with the city of New York. I made it with the federal government. And there should be federal shelters as opposed to city shelters. You're assigned a CARES number that actually will follow you for the rest of your natural life. You'll have that number until the day you expire. And that's wrong. I'm not a number, I'm a person. So once I have access to that federal voucher, I need to have my CARES number expunged or taken out of their system. So New York City has a right to shelter. That's how they are getting veterans in there, but we need more federal shelters, three-quarter living, assisted living, and veteran housing. And it could be done on a city, state, and federal level, but none of you guys are talking because none of you guys care about us. But I'm going to take a real quick commercial break, and I'm going to come right back. This is Cap and No Cap. Kevin C. Megan.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Back, Cap or No Cap. Kevin C. Megan. So I was talking about veterans and veteran issues. I really want to appeal to Congress on both sides because I'm not a Republican and nor am I a Democrat. I vote basically on issues. I don't vote on party lines. I think anyone that votes for party lines without understanding the issues is an idiot. Okay? So I need for both Democrats and Republicans alike to put something on the table in Congress, something federally for veterans. I'm really, really, really appealing to you. Whatever you're doing or not doing for veterans is not working. It's just not working. We have veterans that are committing suicide. We have veterans that are homeless. We have veterans with mental health, PTSD. I think it's criminal to ask a veteran that just came home, and a lot of them are just coming home, that may have post-traumatic stress disorder, to join a New York City shelter where they're in a room with 50 other people. That's not conducive to anything. That's a recipe of disaster. And I really like the feds to really take a real good look at it. So even after this show, I'm going to actually reach out to whoever chairs the veteran committee on a congressional level and reach out to them to see if we can change anything or at least make them understand the issue. But I digress. Okay, let's get to the state. State of New York. Actually, they do more than what the city does. I'll get to the city in a minute. But they do more than what the city does for veterans. There are places upstate where they have specific townhouses in a gated community for veterans. The problem with that is that people that live in a city don't have access to the same thing that what they have up in the state. So you have a little bit of veteran housing, but not enough. And I don't think it should be a burden that the state should have to carry all by itself, considering that the state of New York didn't make a contract with me either when I went over to fight in the Gulf War. I made it with the federal government. So we need more federal resources put into in the form of housing, mental health, but mainly housing. Because I love to say, when it comes to housing, you can never really address the housing crisis until you take a real good look at gentrification. Gentrification, ladies and gentlemen, is ethnic ethnic cleansing, and it's ethnic cleansing American style, meaning it's no different than what Jews went through in Nazi Germany. They were branded, they were tattooed, they were given numbers tattooed into their skin. Veterans are given a CARES number. It's the same thing. It's for identification purposes. So you're identifying who was once homeless. It's not right. So the state of New York, while they're doing some things, they could do more things and they could do it a little bit better. I recently went upstate to see my nephews, had a great time. Actually cooked them some dinner, and I was hanging out with my brother, and I took the Metro North up there, and I asked the clerk, I said, ma'am, is it at all possible that y'all give veteran discounts? And basically what she said to me was, I could give you a ticket, a veteran ticket, but it's going to cost the same. Huh? Make that make sense to me. You're going to give me a ticket that says veteran, but I'm still going to pay full price? New York State probably does not have as much love for veterans as, say, North Carolina, say as a Virginia, say as Texas. You're valued when you're a veteran in those states, and I'd like to see the state of New York do the same. I recently, last week, and I believe we're going to air this at some point, is I had a chance to sit down with Lee Zeldin. He's the Republican candidate that's running for governor. And I had to ask him, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I really think I'm gonna vote for this guy. I really do. I think he's gonna get my vote, and he's gonna get my vote based off of two things. One, I like what he said about veterans. What he did in the beginning is I raised the veteran housing issue to him, and he said to me, "Well, yeah, I would like to see veteran housing. I would love to see veteran homelessness go away, but I'd like to see all of homelessness go away." And I had to interrupt him and actually correct him and say, look, not everyone has the same exception to that I have. I went into the Navy one day after Saddam Hussein went into Kuwait, knowing that I was going to go into war. That's my exception to this country. I've earned that. It wasn't given to me. I earned it. Went through boot camp, went through the fleet, did what I had to do. I'm exceptional to this country, and I run to my exception. I don't run away from it. And so I explained that to him, and he actually kind of really agreed. And I thought that was really powerful. The other thing that really has me looking at him is that most Democrats are shaming Republicans for abortion. Now, I'm not here to tell anyone, I believe a woman has a right to choose. However, it was actually reversed and pushed back down to the states. But what the Democrats is doing is making Republicans shamed for abortion. They're making it sound like, they're the abortion boogeyman. And not for nothing, Republicans are painting Democrats as they're soft on crime. And guess what? They are. Ever since 9/11, I believe we've experienced anarchy in this country. We're living lawless in this country. It's not just New York City or New York State. It's all over in this country. And it's a mess. And I believe that this pandemic was actually planned to do this, like mock drills. And so at some point, you got to pull the rope back. So if you thought, if foundational Black Americans, or any Black people for that matter, thought their rights were being violated before the pandemic, you have people sitting here going back to, hey, y'all need to go back and violate these people's rights even more than what you're doing now. And I think we're gonna look at mass incarceration, probably martial law, and every other thing else that's gonna put law and order back into the system. And the way, this is the part where gentrification actually works, because you're zoning congressional and city areas to fit a bigger agenda. And so we got to look at this gentrification piece really hard. I plan on next month showing a video about gentrification, because I really want my people to know, and veterans really need to understand what's happening to them isn't a fluke, and it isn't an accident. There's a documentary called Gentrified by Jay Black, and I plan on showing it and having a discussion about it so we could get on the same page, But I don't know. I digress. The state of New York, you guys can really do some things. At least you did give us some form of housing, but this, for all intent purposes, build some state housing in the city. We got the HUD vashes. You're going to get the money, so it'll become profitable. We need housing. Veterans need housing. All right. So with that, I'm going to take a real quick commercial break, and I'm going to come right back. And this is Kevin C. Meggett, Kop Or No Kop, and we'll be right back.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
We're back. Kop Or No Kop, Kevin C. Meggett. All right, so I was talking about some world news. I spoke a little bit about the feds. I was telling you about the state, but can't forget about the city of New York. Where do we start with the city of New York? I really believe we actually replaced a period with a question mark. Mayor Eric Adams has, in a very, very short period of time, caught up. He's running a neck-and-neck race with Bill de Blasio as the worst mayor in history. People will say, oh, no, Giuliani was the worst mayor. And I say, nah, he wasn't. You had law and order. And the first thing Giuliani did when he was in office is he went after his own. He went after the mafia. So, I mean, he was cracking down on them. And you did get a lot of cuts, but, for the most part, people felt safe. I think people are getting pushed in front of train stations. You're dealing with a lot of mental health issues on the train. I recently experienced something like that with a homeless man on the train who spat on my boot, and I'm like, this is where we at. You have city police on trains, but you'll have 4 or 5 of them at a station just standing there like they're a post, and like they're deterring something. They're not deterring anything. They have to actually, Mayor Adams, congratulations, you won, sir. You're mayor of New York. Now do your job. Get some work done. I don't understand you. Like you just sit there and want to be, you're still in awe that I'm the mayor. I'm only kind of wishing that we could vet someone. What the city of New York need to do right now is vet a good candidate on both sides of the aisle to run against Mayor Adams, because this makes absolutely no sense. Crime is at an all-time high. You have these migrants that came in that were given actually preference and priority over the residents of the city of New York. So the men went to Orchard Beach. I think Orchard Beach kind of kicked them out. The residents there were all upset, and they kind of like got them out of there, which is good. But you have all of these migrants coming in, and they're being over prioritized over the citizens of New York City. So the women and children are going into high-rise hotels and duplex apartments and so forth and so on. So what you're looking at essentially, those are going to be the nannies and the maids. And those children that are living in Midtown Manhattan now get a better education than my child that lives in the Bronx. It's not right. That's not fair. What are we doing? How and why did you co-sign this, Mr. Mayor? That you dealt with this wrong. And the only people that actually win in this are service providers. People that provide services for these people actually win. But the average person, the average man and woman in the city of New York is actually a loser. They're losing miserably. And you ought to be really, really ashamed of yourself. And I don't have any faith in city council. New York City is always asking, we're trying to be a more veteran-friendly city. How? You offer nothing to veterans, nothing. Anything you offer a veteran, it's not on a city level. It's on a federal level, and all you're doing is attaching that to them. So if I'm homeless, you come in the city shelter for 90 days, and I'm gonna attach you to a HUD badge voucher. If you're if you have a claim, you have a service connection claim, I'm gonna refer you to VA. That's federal. All you're doing is writing a referral. You're not doing anything specific. So if you want to be, if the city of New York wants to be veteran friendly, you have to do something specific to be veteran friendly. What does something specific look like? Something specific looks like creating city housing earmarked just for vets. You're gonna win, but I spoke to someone in the mayor's office and I proposed this to them, and they said, well, where's the city gonna get the money? And I said to them, go get the money from Orchard Beach with the migrants. Where'd y'all get that money? Wherever you got that money to take care of those migrants, get that money and put it and take care of veterans. Don't give me that you can't. Where are we going to get the money? It's there. Y'all pay for what you want to pay for. But veterans in New York City is not a priority. Veterans in New York City, you don't really want to be veteran friendly. If you wanted to be veteran friendly, you would even give us a half price Metro card. How about that? That's something specific. If you honorably serve this country, you should get a half price Metro card to go on the subway. I pay on the subway. I don't just walk on. I pay. And I'm paying a lot of money for poor service. At least that's specific. You're giving me a half off of a Metro card. You're giving me low income housing, because I hate the word affordable housing, because the word affordable favors the rich. We act America on a whole, but the city of New York in general acts like poverty has been eradicated in America, when in fact poverty has gotten much wider, much broader, much deeper, and much blacker. And so it's really affecting a group of people. So how dare you talk about human rights issues over in Ukraine, and y'all are complicit and guilty of the same thing right here in America. The only thing that's different is the method in which you're doing it. You're doing the same thing that Russia's doing to the Ukrainians to us. You're over prioritizing. We're ignored. Foundational Black Americans, they go through benign neglect. I believe that there is a war on veterans, veteran services, and veteran and families. And I'm not gonna sit here and take this war. I'm not suffering in silence, and I'm gonna make sure no one else suffers in silence. I'm gonna make sure that everyone knows this is what they're doing, and how do we combat it. So going back to city council, I don't expect city council to ever do anything constructive, productive for veterans, because not one person in city council is a vet. So you don't know how to vet a vet. We have specific needs. We speak a specific language. We have a specific culture. You do not understand it. The city council makeup, as we know it today, is a bunch of kids, teen titans. And they're walking, all of them are walking around, bumping into each other because no one knows what the issues are. But this is our fault as a city. For one, we don't vote, right? Then again, what is there to really vote for? Because I'm also a big advocate of quid pro quo, something for something. And I can understand why it's low, because no one's putting an agenda on the table for us to go vote. However, no, we're not voting. And when we do vote, we vote based off of popularity, which is why I'm so glad Mondaire is almost gone. Bye, Mondaire. You were wasteful. I feel bad for the people up in Rockland County that was being gentrified sideways by the Jewish people up there. They had no protection. That was an assault that went on up in Rockland County with gentrification, and they had no leadership to protect them. The mayor of Rockland County couldn't do nothing. They went to you, sir. You didn't do anything because it wasn't an LGBTQ issue, and it wasn't an affordable housing or food stamp issue. You were the most worthless person that ever was produced in Congress. Worthless. And shame on the Congressional Black Caucus for even backing you. You never had a black agenda. You're not even black. What was reflective of your camp was LGBTQ issues, and you mostly dealt with Europeans. And so I am so happy that you are leaving. Goodbye. And you will forever be known as a carpetbagger. So if you have any intentions of ever coming to my district and running against my congressman, I promise you'll lose, because he has a real agenda forward. He's a forward thinker, and he has an agenda. You have none. But your curtain is closed. You should have ran against Maloney. You ran from Maloney. So they didn't want you down in Brooklyn. You're done. Please, just disappear. Leave with grace. All right? Bye. So I digress. What is there else to talk? Oh, city council. I was talking about city council. So city council does not have, you have a bunch of kids that are actually don't know what's going on. And I would like to see more people. I'm just so beyond I'm voting for a person because they're this. I'm not voting for no one because they're black. I'm not voting for no one because they're gay. I'm not voting for that's what we got to get rid of. You got to get rid of those, I'm doing this because it's popular. You need to start going back and voting for people that have experience. All right? And I'm really not at liberty to say that the people that are in office right now, well, yes, I am at liberty to say it. The people that are in office right now really do not have the experience. I'm not against them. I just want my city to be ran better. and it's being run into the ground, and they're actually passing bills based off of their emotions rather than what's good for the people. Again, you have all of these things that veterans need, and I believe that there is an actual war on veterans. If we can actually get veteran housing, shelters, three-quarter living, assistant living, and let veteran organizations run those programs. If not, the federal government needs to be expanded. I know that Republicans hate big government, but that's a reason for big government, because someone's got to run this. And if you're not planning on expanding the federal government, at least let it reflect veterans who have a history of helping other veterans, if that makes sense. Okay, so recap, we done took care of the world. We done summarized what's going on in the world. We done talked about what's happening in the federal government. We talked about what's happening in the state, and we talked a little about the city. I'd like to see the mayor actually become stronger. For him to say he was a retired police officer, so forth, so on, he's very weak on crime. Everyone has the right to feel safe. We'll know in a couple of weeks. I think the election is, 3 or 4 weeks away? And it's a very close race with both Republicans and Democrats. I don't know. What's more important to you? The unborn child? Saving destroying a child that you haven't even created yet, or protecting the life of a person that's already here? That's pretty much the agenda when it comes to the Republicans and the Democrats. Republicans are accusing the Democrats of very, very wasteful spending and ignoring the economy, and they're absolutely right. However, I want you to realize Republicans, if they were to take control, and even if they became president again, just know you're going to have a lot of cuts across the board. So, but I mean, we're doing more with less now, because Ukraine, they could feed their babies. They could take care. They get all of the resources. Migrants that just walked into the country, so we're not getting these things anyway. So we can't miss what we don't have, right? That's always been my motto. All right, I'm tongue-tied. I'm rambling. I want to thank Millennium TV 24 for giving me this outstanding platform to actually talk to the world. I want you to advertise with us. If you're a small business or a large business or an independent business or sole proprietor or LLC, or if you're incorporated, whatever you are as a business, advertise with us. We're global. This news station is seen, I believe, in, if I'm not mistaken, 50 or 51 countries throughout the world, including this one, including right here in the United States. We do stream live, so we're on the various platforms, the social media platforms. There are people who are watching me right now as we speak. Millennium TV has been very, very good to me, but I want to thank Mr. Andy King. I'm sorry, I drew a blank. Who's normally with me. He didn't come today, but I thank him, and I thank Janaea Butler, that's my Republican offset. She says I'm really a Republican. I just don't know it. It's a little funny. I miss you, Janaea. And download us. Go to Millennium TV 24. Download us right now. We're on Roku. We're on Apple, Amazon, Fire Stick, Sony. We're on a whole bunch of platforms, and we are looking forward to working with the community and working with the rest of the world. Also, if you can, I'm going to set up in the next week or so an actual website so that you can actually talk to me. I see the various hits, but I like to talk to the rest of the world and see what you want to hear. And if you want to ask me a question or something like that, I could actually answer it right on there. But again, till next week, this is Kevin C. Megate, Kop Or No Kop. We'll be back next week. Peace.